Well, my name is Paul Brown, and my wife Andrea, and our children Derek, Allison, and Landon all farm here in New Providence in Hardin County, Iowa. In college, I wanted to be a farm assistant when I graduated, and at that time, in 1987, most every farm in Iowa had hogs on it. Most every farm was a small family farm and raised hogs in addition to other livestock and crops. And I knew nothing about hogs, so I thought I need some hog experience. To that end, I got a job working in the summer for my father-in-law, who at the time wasn't my father-in-law. And they have a large pasture farrow operation at the time, and farrowed 500 gilts out on the pasture. And so I worked the summer for him and was introduced not only to a new way of raising hogs, but also to his daughter, who later became my wife. And that's how we wound up in New Providence. We worked down at Ames for 3 years for a grain farmer, and then came to New Providence, where we started farming here in 1991. As far as how we came to raise hogs in the pasture, when I worked for Andrea's dad, I was exposed to the pasture farrowing for the first time. Well, the job I got following that in the fall of 1987 was a job in a confinement operation in southeast Iowa. And so within 6 months' time, I had exposure to both type of operations. After that, I knew which type I preferred, and that's the pasture farrowing operation. So that's how we started with this operation. I knew that's what I would prefer and would get along with the best. In 1998, when the hog prices got so low, you were at the mercy of the packers because they didn't have shackle space. There was not room enough to take your hogs unless you planned a week or two in advance, which we had to in order to get them in. Niman offered a system where they guaranteed a floor, so you weren't ever going to go below, at that time I think it was $40. And so it's a lot of insurance for your future too, if you can have that kind of guaranteed a floor. It's a very good floor, and we're very happy with it. One of the things about Niman Ranch is that we left them for a while and worked with another group, and that group was not as stable as Niman Ranch. We felt like, are we going to get this check? Are we not going to get this check? There was a little more uncertainty. And so I appreciate that about Niman Ranch, that they're very solid, and there's never a question of whether we'd get paid. Everything is very well taken care of. Very good network of field agents and support people that are helping, as well as checking on us, the audits that we go through. And I think that's important because we had questions at one of the Chipotle events we were speaking at, and they said, well, how can you guarantee this? And I said, well, Chipotle has auditors. And so we had one on our farm last September, and he walked the farm and did an audit along with our GAP food auditor. And so those kind of things, I think, really lend a lot of credence and a lot of confidence in the system, and that's what Niman, I think, has. We feel that our farming operation, raising for Niman Ranch, allows us to utilize the fields in a way that's sustainable. We end up rotating our pastures in 3 different sites. We use primarily cornstalk bedding in our operation because we have a lot of it. It's ubiquitous. It's Iowa corn and hogs, and so we have a lot of cornstalk bedding. We use that in all of our finishing hogs and all of our sow herd. With the little pigs, we use more oat straw, and that's part of our rotation. The beauty of pasture farrowing is we have our hogs out here, and then next year this will be plowed up or disked up, and we'll plant corn. And that takes advantage of the hog manure and the alfalfa the nitrogen that the alfalfa has put in the ground. And then the following year we'll grow oats, and then the grain is fed to the oats themselves. The grain is fed to the pigs, and the oat straw is used as bedding in our farrowing house in the winter, and then in the huts in the summer. The thing I appreciate most about the pasture farrowing operation is being able to work outside rather than in a building all day. And even in the winter, I much prefer being out in the cold as opposed to inside. I've always enjoyed being outdoors and appreciate that fact about the pasture farrowing. When we farrow our pigs, we either farrow in freestall pens in the wintertime, and as opposed to a farrowing stall where a sow or gilt is confined and cannot turn around, we have a freestall pen in which they are able to turn around, and then we have crush bars to prevent crushing of the young. And also, we let our sows in and out till they have access to the sunshine, to the water to feed, and also the manure outside, save us having a big mess in the building. And in the spring, summer, and fall, the more temperate times of the year, we farrow outside in the pasture, like you see behind you here. And that, for this, largely to help protect the pigs, we have the shape of the huts is kind of important. So that helps us wean a large number of pigs. The English-style arc huts have worked well for us in that regard. Well, I like to think we're a true family farm, and I guess I say that because we make all the management decisions, we own all the infrastructure, and Andrea doesn't help outside much, but she does the things I don't like, which is the book work and the accounting, the tax preparation. That's all her. And then as far as being out here on the farm, the kids all help. Derek, our oldest, is very interested in the hog enterprise and in cattle, and that's we hope to have him back here within a year or so, and he'll be taking over a lot of the decisions in the hog operation. Landon, our youngest, he is involved in the crop operation. He rents some of his own ground, and he hopes to have a precision ag business in conjunction with his crop farming enterprise. And our daughter Allison, she's going to be involved with culinary science. That's her major, and she's looking for a job in that area. But she helps a lot on the farm, especially during times when we round up pigs in the pasture, either to give them, to wean them, or we give them vaccinations, or when we bring them in the fall. All those times takes a lot of help, and Allison's good at that. She's also good at helping process pigs. So whenever you came out to watch us process pigs on a normal day, you'd see probably 3 of my family, myself and right now Landon and Allison involved in that. So we just a basic family farm, and it's kind of what some people say it's a throwback to what it used to be, because you do see all of our family involved here on the farm. Well, we raise our hogs on a corn soybean ration typically, and that's what we have in front of us here. We have a sample of corn, and that'd be the carbohydrate source. And then we have the soybean meal, which is the protein source. And we have oats that we also feed to our little pigs and sometimes to our sows. They are similar to corn, and they're higher in carbohydrate, but they also have higher protein than corn, but a little more roughage, and it helps the younger pigs. And then we also include, we mix a vitamin trace mineral along with salt, lime, dical, those sorts of things. And so those are ground in the grinder mixer, or in our case a feed mill, and then augered into the grain elevator and delivered to the pigs. We use a 3/16 screen, which has a fairly fine grind, and that helps the feed conversion for the pigs. Well, all these are natural products, and 2 of them are raised on our farm, the corn and the oats, and we raise a lot of corn in Iowa. And the soybeans are also raised in Iowa, and then actually they have to be further processed at a processing facility in order to be used for the pig feed. The other thing that's an advantage we have is the hog manure helps us raise better corn, and then that in turn goes back into hog feed, which raises more hogs and produces more manure, so it's a nice cycle for us to be sustainable. Well, here at Alderland Farm, we've often been asked what our name means, if there's any meaning to the name Alderland. And Paul Brown is a rather common name, and years ago we had trouble with other Paul Browns getting our checks for hogs or soybeans, and so we thought we need to get an unusual name for our farm. And so we used our children's names. It's a compilation of Allison, Derek, and Landon, so that's where Alderland comes from. I would hope in the future that this farm would be continued by our children, and that's with that goal in mind we've been training them, if you will, or raising them in a way that they have a good work ethic, being raised on a family farm. And that's one thing that's always commented on by the farm kids in our community anyway, is that they always have a good work ethic. The athletic coaches like them because they work hard, and it's just kind of that traditional Midwest work ethic that we're known for in Iowa. And I think that growing up on a farm like this promotes that. And so I'd like to pass down that work ethic to our children as well as a family farm. And it'd be my hope that the farm would continue into the future, and it'd also be my hope that it would expand. And that's one thing that Niman has allowed us to do, is pay us a wage that is appropriate for the amount of work and the time we put in, and it gives us enough to live well and also to invest in our future here on the farm.